Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're looking at the 10 players with the best Premier League debuts in history. Whether it's stunning goals, epic defending or local heroes, we've got it all, so let's get into it. 10. Petr Cech. We start this list with one of the greatest goalkeepers in Premier League history. And it's only fitting that the four-time Premier League champion Petr Cech had an incredible debut to kick off his career in England. Being bought from Rennes for £7 million, the Chelsea faithful were less than enthusiastic by his arrival, with many preferring their previous number one, Carlo Cudicini. With the Italian injured, Cech had the opportunity to make an immediate impression in his debut away to fellow title favourites Manchester United. Yet as he walked out onto the famous Old Trafford pitch, he did so to the sound of Cudicini songs from Chelsea's travelling fans. Unfazed, the Czech international performed brilliantly as the Blues claimed a 1-0 victory. With a number of crucial saves and a commanding presence, he quickly claimed the number one shirt for himself. Cech ended the 2004-05 season as champion, conceding just 15 goals in the whole campaign. He even set an unbroken league record of 24 clean sheets and went over 1,000 minutes without conceding. Cech would go on to win every domestic and European title available, but who knows what success he would have had if it wasn't for his stunning debut away to United. Before we move on to our next section, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all our latest videos. 9. Michu. Arguably one of the Premier League's greatest ever bargains, Michu arrived at Swansea in 2012 as a relative unknown. Costing just £2 million, he found the net 15 times in the previous campaign for Rayo Vallecano in La Liga, suggesting Swansea may have been onto something. And the Spaniard made an immediate impact in the Premier League. Playing away to Queen's Park Rangers, Michu lashed home from outside the box before curling home a sublime second to put Swansea 2-0 up in an eventual 5-0 thrashing of the Hoops. He even registered an assist, leaving many pundits to wonder how so many teams had missed out on the bargain buy. Describing his debut as incredible, Michu went on to score 22 times in all competitions that season. His amazing form even led to an appearance for Spain in a World Cup qualifier against Belarus. Injury would eventually cause his career to suffer, as life after Swansea yielded little success for the forward. But the Michu era in South Wales is fondly remembered by both the player and the team. 8. Eric Bailly. As a centre-back, being named man of the match in your opening 2 games for your new club is the stuff of dreams. And that is exactly what Eric Bailly achieved when he pulled on the famous Manchester United shirt in the summer of 2016. He was signed for £30 million from Villarreal under the hope that the Red Devils could fill the void left by the departure of Nemanja Vidic. In his one La Liga season, he registered an average 4.7 clearances and 0.6 blocks per game, by far the highest in the Yellow Submarines side. So many were hoping he would replicate his commanding performances in the red of Manchester United. His debut did not disappoint. Just a week after being named man of the match in the Community Shield final, Bailly was again being given the award for his display in United's 3-1 opening day victory against Bournemouth. In his first season, he would go on to make an average of 5 clearances and 2.4 interceptions a game, as well as being named Manchester United's August Player of the Month. In an era where defenders are often overshadowed by their attacking counterparts, Bailly's debut has to go down as one of the best. 7. Jurgen Klinsmann. When a club signs an international star at the peak of their powers, you would think their fans would be ecstatic. But that wasn't the case when Alan Sugar's Tottenham brought in Germany legend Jurgen Klinsmann to North London in the summer of 1994. The serial goalscorer was a bargain at just £2 million, but after eliminating England with West Germany in the 1990 World Cup, and having gained a reputation as a diver, Tottenham fans were less than amused by his arrival. A Guardian journalist even published an article titled "Why I Hate Jurgen Klinsmann" prior to his signing. The German, however, took little time winning over White Hart Lane. On his debut, Klinsmann scored the winner with a brilliant header in a 4-3 win over Sheffield Wednesday, only to celebrate by jokingly diving to the floor. And when he was knocked out following a bloody collision with the Wednesday keeper, he left the field to a standing ovation. Klinsmann's charming good humour and scoring record of 29 goals in 50 appearances meant he left the UK as a hugely popular figure. The same journalist who had initially disliked the forward wrote a follow-up article titled "Why I Love Jurgen Klinsmann," showing what an incredible impact that game had. 6. Matty Longstaff. To score on your debut for your boyhood club is one thing, for it to be the winner against Manchester United is another, but to do it playing alongside your brother is simply perfect. And that is exactly what happened for Newcastle United midfielder Matty Longstaff in October 2019. With Steve Bruce's Magpies side languishing near the bottom of the table, and following a 5-0 battering away to Leicester City the previous week, something had to change. And that change was Matty Longstaff. The unknown younger brother of Sean was surprisingly brought in for the crunch home match against an underperforming Manchester Manchester United side. And the young midfielder wasted no time introducing himself to the Toon army. Rattling the bar with an early strike, Matty Longstaff and his brother Sean dominated the midfield. Matty's crowning moment came as he crashed home a spectacular drive from the edge of the area, sending the St James's Park Massive into raptures. With his brother by his side and his dad in hysteria in the stands, it was a Premier League debut to remember for the local lad. 5. Mario Stanch. Mario Stanch was signed from Parma in 2000 to little fanfare, being overshadowed by the arrival of fellow strikers Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Ida Gudjonsson that same summer. But it was the Croatian who had announced himself at Chelsea first out of the three. Despite having only scored 5 goals the previous season in Italy, Stanch found the net twice in a 4-2 victory against West Ham at Stamford Bridge. Yet it was the manner of his second goal that stays long in the memory. Clearly confident from his earlier strike, Stanch received the ball from Dennis Wise around 40 yards from goal. Flicking the ball up with his first touch, he would juggle the ball in the air on his knee and right boot before unleashing an unstoppable volley into the top corner. A contender for goal of the season, things would never get better for Stanch at Chelsea than in that moment. 4 seasons later, and with just 5 additional league goals, he retired. But no one has been able to score such a screamer on their debut at the Bridge since, and Stanch's legacy in West London remains firmly intact. 4. Marcus Rashford. There is nothing the Manchester United faithful love more than an academy graduate excelling in the first team. And that is exactly what a young Marcus Rashford managed on his first start in the Premier League. In February 2016, coach Louis van Gaal was forced to turn to the 18-year-old due to a build-up of injuries. And Rashford made an early impression for the Red Devils, scoring twice in a 5-1 Europa League victory over Denmark's FC Midtjylland. But facing an Arsenal side the following week was expected to be a much tougher experience for the young forward. A last-minute addition to the starting 11, he didn't disappoint. Rashford lit up Old Trafford with a brilliant performance that saw him score twice and claim an assist in a 3-2 win. Scoring with his first ever Premier League shot, he quickly followed that with a glancing header into the bottom corner. He then laid off Ander Herrera to smash home and seal the win. Not bad for the 18-year-old. Undoubtedly talented, Rashford's United career is at this moment yet to truly take off. Though if his debut was anything to go by, he will have plenty of time to cement himself as a Manchester United legend. 3. Paulo Wanchope. No debut goal is arguably more celebrated by a club than Paulo Wanchope's strike for Derby County in 1997. No one had heard of the Costa Rican forward when he signed from his local club Herediano for £600,000. But he soon made sure his name would never be forgotten at the East Midlands club. Facing up against Manchester United at Old Trafford, there were little expectations for Wanchope and the Derby side. Ashley Ward gave the Rams a surprise early lead, but it was Paulo Wanchope's strike that will be more remembered. Picking the ball up inside his own half, Wanchope strode forward. Beating 4 players, he kept going and advanced into the box, where he coolly slotted past Peter Schmeichel in goal. Despite the best efforts of Eric Cantona, Derby held on for a famous 3-2 victory, with Wanchope's goal immortalised in Derbyshire folklore. Such was the impact of his goal in 2009, it was named as the greatest strike in the club's 125-year history. Wanchope went on to score 49 goals in 161 Premier League appearances with Derby, and then later West Ham United and Manchester City. But none will be better remembered than his very first strike in the Theatre of Dreams. 2. Fabrizio Ravanelli. For a striker, scoring a hat-trick is always a special occasion, but to do it on your Premier League debut is straight out the movies. But Middlesbrough forward Fabrizio Ravanelli managed just that in an opening day draw at home to Liverpool in 1996. No one could quite believe it when the North East club announced the signing of Ravanelli for £7 million from European giants Juventus. Months before, the Italian forward had been scoring goals in the Champions League final, having won Serie A the previous year. Facing a heavily fancied Liverpool side, Ravanelli quickly showed why Borough had made him the Premier League's highest paid player. Whipping up the crowd with every goal, Ravanelli smashed home from the penalty spot before adding 2 more past keeper David James as the game finished 3-3. It was the start of a successful but bizarre season for the player nicknamed the White Feather. Despite 31 goals in 48 appearances, including runs to the FA Cup and League Cup final, Middlesbrough ultimately got relegated. Ravanelli would eventually alienate himself from the fans with constant complaints about life in North Yorkshire, but even he must admit Middlesbrough was the place to be to witness his incredible debut hat-trick. 1. Danny Rose. Since first appearing for Tottenham in 2010, Danny Rose has become an integral part of the Mauricio Pochettino revolution, making over 200 appearances for the Lily-Whites and representing England at the 2018 World Cup. But no one can forget the game that saw the young fullback announce himself to the North London faithful. After a number of loan spells in the lower divisions, Rose was given a chance in the first team with the absence of regular left-back Benoit Assou-Ekotto. Faced with a baptism of fire, his first game would be against fierce local rivals Arsenal at White Hart Lane. 10 minutes in, and with the score at 0-0, Tottenham won a corner. Arsenal keeper Manuel Almunia came off his line to punch the cross clear, with the immediate threat appearing over. Arriving from 30 yards out, the ball fell to Rose, who hit a first-time thunderous volley past the startled Almunia. Regularly polled as the greatest goal ever in the North London derby, the strike was so clean the ball hardly moved as it arrowed in. Danny Rose has only scored 6 league goals since, though none will be quite as memorable as the goal that opened his Spurs account. And that rounds up our top 10 of the best ever Premier League debuts. If there's any you think we missed, drop them down in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.